Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to our Suzerain live streamed DESPOT playthrough where the screen is currently black because I don't know why, but in just a second's time you should be able to, there we go, see the game screen. Sorry about that folks, that was weird. Streamlabs acting up a little bit. How's it going everybody? I hope you all are having a wonderful Friday so far, whether it's the morning, the afternoon, the evening, or the night. I hope you've had a beautiful stress-free week behind you, and I hope you have a beautiful, just enjoyable weekend ahead of you as well. I can't believe it's July. You know, I saw a post yesterday, which was like start of a new month starter pack, and one of the things I've been saying constantly this whole year, every time a new month comes through, I felt so called out by the post because it was so accurate. Is like, yeah, I can't believe it's already X month. But for real though, one of the other things in that starter pack was this year has just flown by. But for real though, this year has just flown by. It's July, folks. That is wild. That is wild. Hope you're having a good time though, folks. Again, a warm welcome to everybody joining in right off the bat. We got Sergio LP, we got Classified, we got Omkar J, Jazzy B, Elo Tree, the Rat Bastard, Ted Knight. We have with us as well Sam Hampson, Marcus, Karel Kutalek, Theo, how's it going, buddy? Zoo Empire, hey. We have Satria Hermawan, Cool Napoleon, Ocean Vasa, and Sealtith. Is it Sealtith or Celtith? I'm wondering that. I want to make sure I get it right, so please let me know if it's Seal or Cell. I feel like it's Seal, but it's good to be certain, right? How goes, folks? How goes? Doing fine. Just found out I'm pregnant a few days ago. Oh my gosh, Elotry, congratulations. Wow. Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good news. Amazing. Oh, that's exciting. Oh man, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Off to a fantastic start, and then right above that message is Jazzy B saying Happy Assassination Day. So thank you as well, Jazzy B, for sharing some positive vibes. Humankind will be out next month. Yeah, exactly. Like we're like a month and a couple weeks away, right? Kai Pasley, how's it going? Castman 2, hey. Oh man, that's very exciting news, Elotry. That's amazing. And yeah, Ted Knight, the music is fantastic. Marcus, how's it going, buddy? Morning, bud. Hope you're having a good week. I think a lot of people this week are going to have a long weekend on their hands, or an extra long weekend, depending on how things work. Up in Canada, July 1st is Canada Day, so a lot of places are taking the Thursday as a stat day, and then they're taking the Friday off as well. I know the States, of course, the 4th of July is Independence Day, the day we fought off the alien invasion. So that's obviously going to be a day off. How does it actually, for those of you in the States, how does it work? Because up in Canada, if the stat day falls on the weekend, you either get the Monday after or the Friday before off. Only if it falls on the weekend, though, and I think the 4th of July is Sunday, right? I was curious. But yes, folks, let's dive on in, shall we? On the topic of independence and nationhood and all the good and sometimes bad that comes with it. Let's dive on into this DESPOT run of Suzerain. There's a segue. Omkar J, you gotta watch Independence Day, buddy. You gotta watch Independence Day. Anybody who did not get the reference about Independence Days and fighting off aliens, you need to watch Independence Day. Not the new one that came out 5 years ago, but the one that came out like what, 90 something? I forget when. 1990 something. Fantastic movie. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, absolutely excellent. Watch it. Highly entertaining film. So it is Sealtith. Sealtith, is that closer? No, okay, that's cool. Okay, I didn't realize the reference. All right, no, for sure. Thank you for trying to teach me. I will try my best. Healtho, how's it going, buddy? Just pushed back a training session to catch the stream. Better make it worth. No pressure. All right, buddy. I promise to you, it'll be totally worth pushing back that training session. Thanks for dropping by, bud. Hope you're having a good day, man. Netas, how's it going? AVK filming, how goes? Elo Tree, oh my god, that's priceless. Thank you kindly, sir. Happy to fulfill my duty as a woman of Sordland. And on that note, let's dive in. Oh man, y'all are making my day. I'm gonna be honest, it's been a stressful week. I don't know if y'all follow me on Twitter, you'll kind of see some of that stress leaking out. It's been a stressful week. Y'all have already made this the beginning of the weekend better than this week has been collectively. So thank you very much for that. It is not a city building game, no Satria. It's a text-based RPG where you are the president of a country, and you're surrounded by... So it's set like in the 50s, but in this fictional made-up part of the world. And you're surrounded by all sorts of issues, but internally you also have a bunch of issues. So you've got, a refugee crisis on one of your borders. You've got a neighbor who's being particularly aggressive. You've got two neighbors, one of whom is a historical ally, sort of fighting against each other. There are superpowers that are the equivalents of... There are power blocks, I should say, that are the equivalents of NATO and the Warsaw Pact happening off the map, but they'll be influencing you as well. You've also got internally, you've got issues with faith, issues with sort of ethnic violence. You've got issues with women's rights is starting to sort of become a conversation as well. So there's all these things going on, a lot of like unrest and a lot of change. It's a time of change, basically, and you are the president of the country during all this. So through conversations with your political advisors, through your cabinet, your family, and your neighboring heads of states and heads of government, you have to try and make everything kind of work and hopefully not get assassinated. It's a fascinating game. It's a lot of fun. I've been loving it. This is my second playthrough in it. 2.125, let's say, because I did a little bit before I started the first playthrough, obviously, just to familiarize myself, but that was barely anything, barely even chapter 1, I think. It's fantastic. There have been people have played like 20 playthroughs and are still finding new things in the Discord. Hopefully that was a quick summary for you. But on the topic of a quick summary, we actually kind of touched on a couple of the things that we discussed last session. I mean, last session was primarily focused on reviewing our situation with our neighbors. We talked a little bit about how we might want to tackle that. Not a little bit in-game, but also just outside of the game. We talked, you guys in chat, and we talked about how we might want to tackle some of the concerns, especially as it pertains to Agnolia, and then the situation down south with Welland and Lesbia. The game is fantastic. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Fizz George, how's it going, buddy? Having a good day, I hope. Having a good week behind you. Say all tith, that's about it. Okay, I'll try and remember that, and I apologize. Feel free to like keep correcting me, by the way, because I like trying to get names and stuff as close to right as possible. So feel free to like keep correcting me. I won't mind if I get corrected on that kind of stuff. Matza, how's it going? Will I ever play Rogue State Revolution? Maybe. It depends, right? Because as every day goes by, an old game becomes older. I might play it close to the end of the year for my like end of the year wrap up videos where I talk about like, hey, gems you might have missed or good games to check out that I didn't get to cover on the channel, that kind of stuff. Don't know if I've ever said it before, but thank you for the series. The game is fascinating, and I'm playing it through myself now. Oh, awesome. Well, hey, thank you for dropping by and for your kind words, and I'm glad to hear you've picked it up. I think I'm probably going to get assassinated in mine for being too radical, but it's still fun. Hey, that's the thing. When a game makes losing or potentially losing fun, like that, to me, that's like a sweet spot for games. Brad Russell Webster, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. Again, folks, if you are enjoying the show, as we get started, don't hesitate to hit that like button. Hit that like button like, oh dear, no, we're not going to go there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the news because, yeah, like I said, okay, so let me very quickly touch on a brief summary of some of the conversation from last time. We're going to try and strong-arm Agnolia to give us a continued sort of imbalanced trade deal. The thing with Agnolia is they are historical kind of trade partners, and the deal we have with them favors us, tremendously so. Now, in the previous playthrough, there was an opportunity perhaps to strong-arm them because they kind of need us as allies, and we need them as well, but they need us more almost because they're butting heads with a much more powerful nation that has some extremely powerful allies, including one of the power blocks I was mentioning earlier. However, because of the northern neighbor, we're both actually a little under threat, but that means that Agnolia is under threat on two fronts while we're under threat on one. So if one of us needs an alliance more than the other, it's probably Agnolia. However, they seem to have updated that for this playthrough now. They've already brought the alliance up, so I don't know if we'll still have that option, but we're hoping to kind of strong-arm Agnolia and maintain a trade deal that benefits us over them. Don't know if that's going to work out. We might actually lose out on that, which will, of course, affect our budget and all that from trade. Down south, meanwhile, there were some really interesting points raised, and it's kind of funny. So In my head, leading up to last session, Welland almost felt like the obvious option as an ally. Their leader is almost like a role model for us. He's also a despot. He's literally participating in, oh, this is going to sound horrible out of context, but he's participating in, a genocide. Our kind of guy, basically. Yikes. So yeah, that kind of like made natural sense to me, but we both have common enemies as far as people are concerned, so it would make sense. However, there were some great points brought up in chat which make 100% sense, and now I'm kind of torn. Now, it won't be a conversation that comes up too soon. We have some time, but it was brought up that Lesbia and Welland don't get along. See, many years ago, when Welland was previously, stabilizing itself, let's say, it led to a lot of refugees pushing into the borders, and Lesbia blocked their borders, forcing those refugees into our province of Bergia over here. So Lesbia and Welland don't get along, and if we're too buddy-buddy with Welland, it might hurt our opportunities with Lesbia. And it was brought up that Welland is a rogue state, and allying yourself with a rogue state isn't necessarily the best move. It's not the power move, Whereas allying ourselves with Lesbia, which is a powerhouse in the region, they make a lot of money, they invest in foreign nations as long as there's an opportunity to get returns, of course. Like, these guys are probably where the money is, especially for somebody who would like some of that money to line my pockets, right? So it's something to think about. It was brought up. I think it was just like one sentence that came through, and I was like, dang, you're right, And so that's something we have to consider. That's something we definitely have to consider. Ren, not too late, buddy. You just missed a little catch-up, what's it called? Recap. I knew there was a word for it. I was missing. So not too late. And then again, Wizards never late. Fizzers, all is good. Looking forward to see what injuries happen in today's Euro games. Oh my God, yeah. I want to watch the games today, but there's so much going on. Oh man, I don't know. I'll see what I do about the games today, but I do want to watch them. It was fun earlier this week talking about the games in the Discord. That was a lot of fun. I miss that kind of vibe. My life used to revolve a lot more around football when I was in the right time zone for it. Sam Hampton, suck up to Surge. There's no such thing as an assassination. Honestly, the thing is, like, it's always good to be good to your chauffeur, right? Make sure you don't get driven up a dark alleyway or something. Potentially losing equals fun. I didn't think about it like that, but you make an excellent point. That's it. Like Battle Brothers, Darkest Dungeon, Suzerain. The bad outcome still being fun is such a big, it's so important, because then you don't feel bad when things go wrong, right? You feel good about it. Spindle, glad you can make it, buddy. Took this Friday off, making it an extra long weekend, eh? How's it going, buddy? It's been some time since he's been able to come to the live streams. Life's all good, I hope. Missed the VODs, though, so no idea where we're at in the Blood Rain. We only just talked about foreign policy, so we're not too deep into it. We ignored, the funeral and stuff like that. It's been a good time. It's been a good time. Hit that like button like Peter hit the the river or the bottle or the secretary. Oh my God, Health or Fizz George on a roll. Oh my God, Ted Knight. I was like, did I have a sense of deja vu there? Glitch in the Matrix. Smolak is a lad. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. The good thing about Lesbia is that it's full of lesbians. I see what you're going for there. Just noticed your economy dropped a bit. This happened at the end of the previous session. Oh, the economy. Oh, Did the economy drop a bit, or do you mean the budget? I can't remember how many pips this was at. I'm sure we'll find out as we dive into things. All right, 6 unread newspapers. Let's start with the Hallsword Post. This will help us kind of catch up with what's been going down as well. What is it, all the way at the bottom, or why the newspapers? There we go. All the way at the bottom. Weird. Emergency in Anrica, Mayor announces. Troubling news is coming from the Mayor of Anrica, who reported that a state of chaos exists in the city, and called an emergency directive, authorizing him to use his security powers. In an announcement, Mayor Lest said, "We are reporting 20 police officers heavily wounded, 2 police stations burned down, and several shot. The city is in a state of emergency, and we are trying to restore order." The local gendarmerie began assisting the mayor after the emergency request was made. The armed units are now securing critical junctions and key infrastructure like power stations, hospitals, and the municipality building. Local NFP leaders have announced that they will assist the local enforcement with the task of keeping the streets safe by reporting violent dissenters, a statement criticized by the local PFJP official. Oh dear lord, man, the NFP always finds a way to just do questionable things. But one thing that this reminds me of, this is why I love leaving the news until the beginning of the next session, because it acts as a bit of a refresher. But last time we did get new sort of police recruits out on the streets working as well, because our police force was wavering a little bit. We needed some well, they needed some help, so I figured we'd send the younger. We'd graduate the next generation of police officers a bit early to get them out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a result of that. Airlen00, this is Suzerain, a text-based RPG where you play the president of an ailing nation surrounded by potential enemies, and you try to keep everything under control. It's sort of like the 50s, except set in a fictional universe, fictional world. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic time. And again, folks, if you're not familiar with the game, or you are familiar with the game and you're planning on picking it up, if you do it at my game store, you do support the channel as you get the game. Again, you get the Steam key, so just like a regular Steam purchase, basically, except it does help support the channel. Ewald Alfonso, not a bad bloke to chat to though. Oh, chatting with Alfonso. I mean, I guess we do align in some ways. The NFP are good swords and fellow young swords members. Yes, right. Gotta stay in character. Of course, the PFJP would complain about law and order. Exactly. Of course they would. There's Omkar J and Ren coming through, dropping the store link. Thank you very much, folks. If you want to check out the game or any other game as well, of course, anything you buy from that link will support the channel. Welfare issues of Narvel. Narvel, a city that was once an important trade stop for the Markian Empire, has been in a steep decline for the last decade. We've uncovered the hard truth from the residents themselves. KA-46, a shepherd living near the Cavendier Mountains that did not wish to disclose his real name, has made shocking remarks about the city's and region's lack of healthcare services. He's waited almost 5 months just to get an appointment in the rural region. Another resident, a farmer, IY-57, who also did not wish to disclose his name, is living near the outskirts of the Narbel. His children, AY-14 and VY-16, have to use dangerous mountain paths to walk to their school located 2 kilometers away, even in the harshest seasons. It builds character. Back in my day, I had to walk to school uphill both ways. This is new. We didn't get this in our previous playthrough. That's cool. The updates since our previous playthrough will give us a lot of new goodness to check out. Let's see what the Radical is ranting about today. What is this rag writing? Where a president has no respect for circus. Of course not. He was a source of trouble for our nation. Why would I have any respect for someone who would tear our nation apart? Earlier in the day, mourners in Hallsword gathered outside the Maroon Palace where Bernard Circus was shot, holding identical black and white signs reading, "We are all Bernard Circus, and we are all Millennivists." The funeral took place in Dare amid tight security. White doves were released into the air, and much of downtown Dare was closed to traffic. There were no high-ranking government officials among the thousands who attended the funeral. If the president and chief of the general staff came to the funeral, I would have been hopeful that the state has given up on a lynching culture and started to practice self-criticism, but this seems too far off from the reality in Sordland. Yet again, the Swordish government proved just like its predecessors. The president seems to be condoning these kinds of violent attacks since he ignored this event of massive proportions that occurred right under his nose and, ironically, during his inauguration ball. We're sad to say that Anton Rain has already proved not worth being hopeful about. Man, just full of complaints, the Radical, always. Igor Putvis, how's it going, buddy? Having a good Friday, I hope? If things go bad, we'll end up with toddlers in police uniforms. Yeah, man, they're harder to hit because they're a smaller target. Sometimes they're more nimble. They can fit in, like, tighter spaces. That's not a bad idea. I'll throw that to my ministers when I can. Yeah, I've heard that about Rogue State Revolution. Yeah, definitely something I want to keep my eyes on that one. Still a lot of information for people wanting to remain anonymous. We could find them and ask them politely what they're complaining about. It's very true that as far as keeping people anonymous, that article didn't do the best job. It's like this person, hopefully those initials are made up, so that helps obfuscate them a little bit. But this person who has 2 children of these ages, it's just like, wow, that in a rural area where you maybe have like 10 to 20,000, a population of 10 to 20,000, maybe, depending on how rural it is. Yeah, it's easy to find people with that information. Oh, I guess this article counted as read. Weird that, yeah, this is definitely a new article. Farewell, Bernard Circus. It is a sad moment for Sordland. We have lost a renowned poet who not only wrote about the struggles of the working class, but also acted on them. However, his decision to enter Swordish politics was met with a sick attack that ended his life. This was indeed intended as a message to all opposing voices in Sordland. No, this isn't new. God, this is weird. It said we had 2 articles here that were unread, but I'm only seeing one. Oh, there we go. My bad. We need democracy. Did I miss this one, or did I intentionally ignore it? Subconsciously. We have long demanded the expansion of civil rights with reforms to modernize our nation. When the previous government blamed the Supreme Court for not allowing the reforms, the opposition was quick to point out the flaws within the Constitution and brought focus on reforming governmental structures to open way for further civil reforms. Now the reformists have increased in number, and with a president who is seen as a symbol of change in office, we're waiting for results. Whether it is the leader of the opposition or our current president, somebody has to break the cycle and rewrite the Constitution made by Tarkin Sol, whose cult of personality has shaped our current divided national spirit and must be broken. Will President Rain stand up to the establishment and listen to the people? We will see. Okay. Geopolitico says, Sordland closes consulate. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade reacted swiftly to the Roomberg consulate closure in Lackhaven by shutting down the Sordland consulate in Dome, an Agnolian city annexed by Roomberg. This clear, retaliatory diplomatic response will draw a lot of attention in the global diplomatic stage, but was welcomed by PM Martin van Horten of Agnolia. President Rain seems to be decisive against Roomberg, but whether this will be worth it is another question. This is another thing, right, that happened last session when the folks over at Roomberg, again our historical enemies, closed their consulate. We retaliated by closing our consulate in Dome. It's kind of funny that we actually set up a consulate in Dome in the first place, considering it was only relatively recently annexed. You'd think we would not, as a sign of protest or something. But yeah, right, we're retaliating against Roomberg, and I don't know how that's going to play out. If they declare war on us before we're ready, then we are pretty well screwed, because we can't stand up against them. We can't stand against them. Taking a look at chat real quick. The radical needs a radical change of leadership, for real. Wanting self-criticism, typical. I ain't got time for that. I'm trying to repair the nation. We need a dem theocracy. Oh god. Oh god. Don't ask, just believe. I like it, CJ. I like it. Instructions unclear. How goes, but so we can use them to clean the ducts or grease the hard to reach mechanisms, but not much else. Oh, you mean the children? There's no other way to put it. Oh man. Toddlers in lab coats making nuclear bombs. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe they'll, maybe our kids will be able to surpass others in their technological capabilities. So far, the only nukes we know about are with Arcasia, which is the U.S. equivalent, that recently did an ICBM test, which I'm going to say was successful, landing in the Markian Sea. All right, what is going on at Hulsor? Briefing on the results from the Reform Committee. White Room, Maroon Palace. Have faith in the rain, new party slogan. Oh god, for our dem theocracy. Have some faith, man. You can do it. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're not, again, just as a reminder, we're trying to play non-aligned. We're not going to buddy up with either of the superpowers. We'll see how that plays out as well. Between that and potential war with Roomberg, we'll see how it all plays out. I came a little early to the meeting room before anybody showed up. We had scheduled a meeting to discuss the progress of the Reform Committee regarding the new Constitution. It's Constitution, man. I took a seat on the center chair in the vacant meeting room as I waited for them to show up. The reforms were slowly becoming the most significant expectation of my government. We would be changing Saul's Constitution of 29. So this has been interesting. Again, I guess in theory, when we have these conversations, we can push to not have change. But I guess the reality is that everybody else in government wants this change to happen, so I have to deal with it. Because otherwise it'll run away from us. I just kind of wish the phrasing of it was a little different. Like I'd immediately shown disinterest in changing the Constitution, so I kind of wish like all this wording was a bit more like representative of like our resignation to the reality, I suppose. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. Most people nowadays blame the Constitution for the outstanding problems of the country. On the other hand, the reformists in the Assembly had been getting louder about their demands. What I knew for sure was I needed to do something about this encroaching chaos before it swallowed me. Meanwhile, Lucien, Peter, and Nia had been leading the committee to prepare an initial draft for the constitutional amendments. I was intrigued to hear the results. There was a knock on the door. It was Lucien. AVK Filming, you gotta get going, buddy. Sounds good, bud. Thanks for coming through. Have yourself a wonderful Friday, and if I don't catch you before the stream is done, enjoy the weekend. Thanks for coming through. YouTube has... Yes, YouTube... Yeah, everything across the internet has that minimum age threshold, theoretically, unless given parental support. And of course, with our military complex, we will be acquiring parental support for any soldier we need to bring in, of course. Isn't the premise of your election based on a promise of change? Was it? I mean, I suppose yes. But constitutional change is a whole other level. I guess I get what you're getting. I'm trying to remember if it is actually made explicit right at the beginning. You might be right. In which case, it shouldn't be an option for us to say, I don't want to change the Constitution. Though, I guess, like I was saying, everybody else is pushing for it. We're basically trying to keep it in check. Now, there is an opportunity to use the Constitution changes to further our power. So, you know, we'll try that. We'll try that. It's not going to pass. But that's a win-win for me. And it's excellent. See, if it doesn't pass, the Constitution stays as it is. And that's what I wanted anyway. But if my ridiculously, despotic, there's no other way to put it, reforms do manage to pass, then that's what I want too. So it's a win-win for me. So that's what we're going to go for, right? They elected us, now we don't really need to do anything for them. Well, yes and no, because if we do, I don't know if we can set up a tyranny, a dictatorship, but if there is another election and we want to win it and we want to keep winning it, we have to give the illusion of loving the people, right? Good afternoon, sir. Lucian arrived exactly on the hour mark again. His punctuality could almost be described as obsessive. You're waiting behind the door. I'm not going to give... Again, this is my chief strategist. You need some friends. If you're going to be a successful despot, you need some friends in life. Good afternoon, Lucian. He took a seat on the table and took out a bunch of documents, spreading them on the long table. We should begin the meeting as soon as Miss Morgana and Mr. Vice President arrive. We finally have some results from the Reform Committee. Good. A few minutes later, Peter and Nia also arrived. After a short chat, everybody sat down and took out their notes. I knew it was going to be a long meeting. Alright, should have pulled out a drink. There's a lot to talk about the future of this process. Let us begin to tackle the points of contention. Mr. President, I've heard from Mr. Galati that you're not intending to support the democratic reforms. Our committee meetings have been really fruitful, and we already started on the constitutional draft together with the feedback from all the political parties. We're making clear progress here. You wouldn't really block our hard work, would you? Damn. She's, I mean, again, like we were just saying, I guess there are some changes I wouldn't mind happening to the Constitution. Enact emergency powers. Well, that's the thing, I guess. If we end up in, at war with Roomberg, at least we can enact emergency powers and, keep that going, indefinitely, keep myself in control. That's one way of doing it, for sure. Absolutely how you should play what, Elotri? At least in the absence of classified to guide us? Wait, hold on. Exactly how we should play what? I think I missed something there. Emergency powers, control media, secret police, and you're pretty well guaranteed re-election. Yes, I mean, if the people know it's good for them. I should hope so. Who appointed her? Well, that's the funny thing, right? I guess the implication is that in order to get into power, we had to do a couple favors. There was a lot of bribing and conniving involved in getting our position. So I assume some of these are the result of that. She's clearly not aligned with our needs and wants. Let's see if she falls in line, though. Nishani Kumari, not too much. We are currently dealing with a conversation about the constitutional reforms. Took a look at some of the newspaper articles and recap what happened last session. So, not too much. Oh god, why did I see Darth Binks? Okay. Every time Darth Binks comes up, I think about the Jar Jar Binks fan theory, which might have been true. A final decision hasn't been made yet. What's that supposed to mean? I've already explained my intentions. I'm kind of tempted to say, what's that supposed to mean? It's difficult again. Nia Morgana. I mean, do I really want my Minister of Justice hating me? I see a call for 3, but I think I will say a final decision hasn't been made yet. Because like I said, if we are, again, this is a win-win for us. If we're able to push our ridiculous demands as far as possible and fail, we still win. So I'm tempted for 4, but 2 calls to me because it's just like, who do you think you are, Nia? You know what I mean? I'm gonna go with 2. Let's see what she has to say for herself. GB Frostbite, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. Again, if you are, you know exactly what to do. Let me know down below. Now, what's that supposed to mean? She leaned slightly towards me. This is our once-in-a-lifetime chance to change the constitution of Tarkin Sol, Mr. President. We worked hard to create a draft together with the leaders of our party and the opposition. Nothing else is more important for Sordland. Thanks for the advice, Mrs. Morgna. See, saying with all due respect means no respect, right? That's what all due respect means. You're not due any. Like 9 out of 10 times. But it's too on the nose. I like thanks for the advice. It feels a bit more powerfully sarcastic. You know what I mean? This is like passive-aggressive. This is like aggressive. Thanks for the advice, Mrs. Morgan. Peter cut in before Nia could speak. If I may continue, Mr. President. We've discussed the possibilities of your intentions with Mr. Galade. We already know that the old guards would block any reforms to the Constitution, so they would definitely want to work with you to preserve it, if that's still what you want to do. I can't believe you're supporting this too. I do not. I've already explained, Mr. President, my position on working with the old guards. Yo, we might actually, if we keep pursuing this, we might actually have, like, a betrayal from our cabinet. It's interesting. Okay. I appreciate your thoughts. Now let's move on. So you came here to tell me not to do this. Come now. I can't have you all go against me on this. How about you, Peter? Okay, this is gonna be 3 or 4. What do you guys think? I'm kind of tempted to be like, so I put my hands out. It's like, guys, are you serious right now? Who's on my side here? I need someone on my side here. Nia has very dangerous views. Yes, very dangerous views. She didn't really explain what she meant though. I guess did she not? Let's see. We asked her. I mean, okay, technically, but I think our question was more of a metaphor. I mean, did we mean it literally? What's that supposed to mean? Nah, I would say she, like, you know, quote unquote, answered it without answering it per se. She can present her draft. It'll just get a few edits. Yeah, normal procedure. That's what I'm thinking. That's the thing, guys. Like, make it look like you're like, okay, I acquiesce. Fair enough. We'll do it your way. But then make the edits that make it my way instead. See a lot of 4s. All right, yeah, let's see where Peter stands. Yeah, how about you, Peter? Old buddy, old pal. I think we can figure something out. You can call a meeting with Orso Hawker. We're not here to destroy the legacy of Tarkin Sol. But why not work with them? I just do not trust the Chief Justice in delivering any promises. I'm afraid that ignoring the demands for reform might create some future problems for our administration. This is the thing as well. Lucian has his eyes to the future, right? His job, his future livelihood also depends on our re-election, as far as he's concerned. Excuse me, gentlemen. The reforms are not just some problem. They're absolutely necessary to democratize this country. With all due respect... Oh, there it is! With all due respect, I have to say that I feel disappointed. I thought this administration was going to bring real change. It seems Solism still lives on. I mean, you want to hand in your letter of resignation, I will happily take it. I could say I'm disappointed in you. Oh man, do we want to see if we can actually get her to resign? I don't know if that's even an option. I don't know if that's a thing. Exactly, Spindle. With all due respect, we all know what that means. Zuka, how's it going, buddy? Glad you can make it. It's been some time, mate. Having a good Friday, I hope. Screw Peter, he's probably just waiting to go talk to Livia after the meeting. I mean, true, but Peter seems to be on our side at least, more so than anybody else in this room. Nia, be a darling and go get us some coffee. Yeah. You know what this meeting is missing, Nia? Some snacks. Could you arrange that for us? Because it's a horrible injustice otherwise, and you are the Minister of Justice. Better than a lot of other Fridays. I'm glad to hear that, Zuka. Glad you can make it, though. Glad you can make it. We could do 4 if we want to pretend diplomacy. I'm kind of tempted to... That's what I'm thinking. She might resign if I keep pushing my luck here. Now, if she resigns... my Minister of Justice resigns. That's a good look. If she resigns, like, who else will resign? Because even Lucian's not really on board with this. With all due respect, maybe she should leave the Democratic People's Republic. That is our free country. Oh no, Democratic People's Republic. promising prefix to a nation's name. I'm disappointed in you, Mrs. Morgan. I'm sorry you feel that way, Mr. President, but I thought you picked me because you wanted to bring justice to Sordland. Maybe we can first go over the draft of the amendments that the committee prepared for reforms. You don't have to approve it. Fine, let's hear it. Like I said, I acquiesce, right? It's just like, in my head, I'm almost like, let them feel like they've won something in this conversation. Maybe they'll feel like, maybe I can give them less ground when they present the Reform Committee's desires, and so come out on top, basically, right? Because I do have to work with these people. Smoking all meeting? Absolutely. Absolutely. Fine, let's hear it. Of course. We'll go through each of the main demands of the committee and get your input. Ms. Morgana can explain them further. Now, I just want to let everyone know who's not so familiar with the game we're playing. Everything that's just happened in this conversation never happened in our previous playthrough. Never. Not even a sliver of it have we seen before. All unexpected. Well, maybe not unexpected. I imagine some friction would come through, but I didn't know any of the details or anything like that. None of this happened before in our previous playthrough, because in our previous playthrough we were before the reform, so it's just cool to see how the branching paths get. Alright, we'll go through each of the main demands of the committee and get your input. Mrs. Morgan can explain them further. Ugh, I have to hear her nagging through this whole meeting. We'll start with the first red line. The new constitution will fix the loopholes regarding the president's absolute veto powers. Even though Mr. Richter put on a whole show about why vetoes should completely be removed, the committee has almost unanimously agreed on fixing the loopholes, thus limiting presidential vetoes. My suggestion is to add a clause detailing the methods the Assembly may override a veto with some sort of supermajority. One person should never be able to block the rest. They will not be allowed to dictate the negotiations. No, the veto power is important. If I didn't have veto powers, for example, the previous bill would have passed. I guess this time we wanted it to pass. Hold on. I have to remind myself that I'm who I am. Veto is so important because if a supermajority passes a bill and I veto it, then that same supermajority will try to will override my veto. Doesn't make any sense. And that's right, Zuka Dragon. This is the evil one, the despot run. Absolutely. No reform will come only with emergency powers. Oh, we'll head for that then. Evil is just perspective. We're here to bring justice and freedom. No comment. No comment. Very accurate. They will not be allowed to dictate the negotiations. Freedom and justice. This is one of the starting points of the whole discussion about changing the Constitution. I don't think this is up to discussion for any reformists. The second one is about the judiciary. The new Constitution will remove the Supreme Court's right to vote on legislation. This is yet another point that was unanimously agreed on by all parties. Tarkin Sol established this rule to protect his 29 Constitution. We all know most of the judges are still his pawns. Constitutional amendments will still be very difficult to accomplish with a reform like this, particularly because we will keep the 2/3 vote system to be able to propose a change. However, the judiciary will not have the final say in the amendments. So this is actually a change I'm okay with. It makes it harder to pass the whole thing if it even gets past the Assembly, which it probably won't, but this is one I'm okay with, because if the more power that rests in me, the more I can do. If the Supreme Court is able to shut down any changes I want to make, then who holds the actual power? It's the Supreme Court. Right? So I think we should... I think this is actually something I'm on board with, truth be told. Yeah, remove the power of the Supreme Court so that I'm at the top here. There's no one above me. There's no one above me who can say, that thing you want to do, you're not allowed to do it. We voted on it. Never seen that a veto was blocked with a supermajority? Never seen that a veto was blocked with a supermajority. You mean in-game or like in real life? Yeah, this is already what we wanted to do. I'm trying to figure out if I want 1 or 2 here. This is already what we wanted to do. This is already what our administration wanted to do. Yes, this will ensure that there won't be another politically motivated Supreme Court. Apart from these two critical points, they have other major demands. They want to reform the appointment procedures of the ministers. Mr. Richter clarified that the Assembly should have a say in the formation of the Council of Ministers. And that is something that a majority in our party also supports. Well, Mr. Richter also talked about abolishing the Member of Honor rights for Tarkin Sol that gives him absolute immunity and makes him a permanent member of the Assembly. Well, that one is a controversial one. I doubt that the USP would like that. Immunity of the justices, the impeachment of the president, limiting the power of the presidential decrees, all of this came up during the committee meetings. Yes, reformists expect big reforms, while our faction and the USP are not very keen on pushing changes that are too great. I'd say keeping everything in the middle ground is the safest bet. No need to agitate anyone too much. I can say I agree. Let's keep the changes small and manageable. Again, if it fails, it fails. If it goes through, then I end up on top too. Exactly, Yellow Tree. Ultimate power should rest in our hands so that we can lead the country to a proper future, to a prosperous future. You're thinking we push for comprehensive reforms, Sam Hampton? Yeah, except our kinds of comprehensive. Again, I feel like it's a matter of I need these guys to bat for me when they have these conversations. I need these guys to bat for me when they're in their committee meetings. So I don't want to be too like if in the next meeting Nia's like, listen, the president's a problem, then we're gonna have trouble, right? If the conversation of these committee meetings start becoming all hush hush, like, okay, we need to do something about rain, because he's raining on our parade, that's a problem. We need them to think, okay, look, we can work with the president. He'll just take some time. I agree. Let's keep the changes small and manageable. Truth be told, the current power structure works for us. The only thing that doesn't is the Supreme Court having some power, but everybody in the committee seemed to be for that change, including us. So let's keep the changes small and manageable. As long as we address the main issues, I also agree. Get out of here, Nia. Well, regardless of what Mr. Rain decides, we will need to work together to push this agenda. Now we should wrap this up. Since we evaluated the points, I'd like to hear your input, sir. What do you guys think? Support the new constitution and just make sure that it's in our favor, and then if it doesn't make its way through, okay, like I keep saying, it's a win-win for us, right? Supporting the new constitution. What do y'all think? If you go for comprehensive reforms, couldn't that be shifted in your favor? Yes. The thing is, just because we say something right now doesn't mean we have to stick with it down the line. So we can definitely push for some things bigger than others and make it seem like right now I want to make it seem like I'm on board with their conversations and their suggestions to a degree, and then down the line get slowly more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Hopeful for a greater future. See lots of ones. I see a couple of twos. Lots of ones. If the reforms fail, you're done. I don't know if that's the case, because the reforms failed last time as well, and we didn't get assassinated. We didn't get reelected, but I feel like that's because of a lot of other reasons. I'm going to say I'll support the new constitution. Let's try and avoid spoilers in chat, please. Let's not mention, like, oh, make this decision for this, these consequences. Just because, like, I want to try and have everything happen by surprise. I want to try and avoid metagaming as much as possible. I will support the new constitution. Yeah, let's go for it. Aim small, miss small. That's one way to put it. That's great to hear, Mr. President. I'll present your input to the committee. In a few months, you would have the draft on your desk to make the final changes yourself. I think this was yet another fruitful meeting, sir. If you do this, we'll be remembered as heroes. I hardly think so. Together we will democratize Sordland. Definitely not. Your service is appreciated. Thanks for the meeting, everybody. I think 4 is the option here. Thanks for the meeting, everybody. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you, Anton. You have my support, Mr. President. Do I? I think this is where we'll call it, sir. Have a good day. They left the room. See, I feel like I'm curious now how far we can push this thing. It'll probably get killed before it even goes up for a vote. I doubt the committee will come to an agreement over here. And if there's an opportunity to speak to the Supreme Court ahead of time, to be like, hey, listen, these reforms are coming, you should block them. Like, I want to see what options arise here, because I wouldn't mind them being blocked, right? If they do get I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. That's all I can really say. I'm not sure how this is gonna play out, and that's what I love. The report from Volksland. Let's check out the news first. Let's see what the radical has to complain about now. WPB protests electoral bill. Growing discontent over the past electoral campaign finance bill, which has excluded public funding for parties that aren't able to enter the Grand National Assembly, has reached a boiling point when all Workers' Party of Bludia officials and members went out in protest around the country. Man, these guys just run on sentences and break up your sentences, add in some commas. Strong voices of support came from the Labour Union of Sordland and the People's Freedom and Justice Party, calling the bill unfair for most parties and an attack on our democratic principles. For the record, me criticizing the writing over there was just me criticizing the radical, not the devs or anything. Just making a dig at the radical. The new bill means that the WPB lost half of their total party funding, and since they couldn't pass the high election threshold of 10% to enter the assembly, aren't eligible at all to receive any public election funding for the 1957 elections. That's another massive sentence. The WPB leader said that the workers' struggle continues and that they are willing to explore other options to be able to represent the hundreds of thousands of people that voted for them. For now, their struggle continues. President Rain and the USP establishment are actively seeking to suppress the political representation in this country. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. Volksland urges calm. Chancellor Hegel has released a statement through official channels urging calm on the Rumberg-Sordland dispute. The General Secretary has also mentioned that the climbing tensions should immediately be de-escalated to protect peace and prosperity of Eastern Maricopa. I agree. We didn't see... Oh, I guess everyone's kind of responding to our move over here, yeah. Rumberg condemns closure. Queen of Rumberg, Beatrice Livingston, has released a statement this morning to publicly condemn the closure of Sordland's consulate in Dome. Thornburg also accused Sordland of increasing tensions in the region. God damn, I hate... This is the part of, this level of politicking that just, I absolutely abhor. It's like, you literally made the first move. We did the exact same thing back, but because you probably have more money and access to more media, you're able to get that statement out sooner, and they're able to paint us like the bad guys. Alright. Promising industrial potential over here. The mayor of Conriat, Chris Scarr, reports that the decision to start the construction of the L1 high-speed railway project caused industrial investors all over the country to invest money in regions near the city. Nice. The mayor is hopeful that the completion of the project, will result in substantial economic growth in Conriat. Good stuff. That's as a result of this railway project. Hey. L1 construction plans started by Underhall. Underhall Construction has reported that preparatory work for the L1 railway has already started, including clearing land and transporting equipment. Construction of the railway will be starting in the next months from Hallsword. Good stuff. I do want to see if we're able to complete this railway faster than we were able to complete the highway up to Avery. Now, I'm curious. I think the map has been updated. I don't think I remember these red lines between the black lines previously, right? Is that a sign of our upgrades being underway? Carol, what do you mean with regards to the other options? Ironic that the Tranquil Sea is located in Rumberg, right? God. I guess that's a Caspian Sea reference, just based on its size and stuff like that. But no, it's yeah. How dare they do exactly what we did? Exactly. It's just come on, get off my case. Meeting with the Chief Justice Orso Hawker. Speak to the devil, maybe. The administration had been working day and night on the overwhelming amount of issues that were facing the country. The department sent several documents which required my signature so they could start working on the new decisions that were taken. After I signed dozens of them, I closed my eyes to relax for a moment. Another long day. Even though I really wished to leave the palace for the day, Lucien had earlier told me that the Chief Justice wanted to speak to me. We planned to meet in my office in 30 minutes. I waited for him, wondering what subjects he would raise. Poured some whiskey out. Poured out some whiskey for myself and took a sip. It eased my mind a little. Suddenly, I heard a knock on the door. It was Lucian. "Good evening, sir." "Have a seat." He sat on a chair near my desk. "I'm sorry that I couldn't explain the situation to you in detail earlier, sir. The Chief Justice insisted on seeing you this evening. I do not know what he has to say, but it will probably be about the new Constitution. He will be coming shortly with Judge Mr. Gavrasi to the meeting. We shouldn't take them lightly." I was going to offer him a drink, but I guess that's not where this have a seat conversation is going. "Oh, I see, Carol. I see. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're talking about." Try to cause a ruckus, probably. "I think he's here to test the waters. They're here to threaten us to stop the reforms. We may be able to cooperate with them. Regardless of what they say, I will continue with the new Constitution." "We may be able to cooperate with them." "I advise against that, sir. I do not trust the Chief Justice. We should..." There were 3 knocks at the door. Lucian checked his watch. He looked rather worried. Olivia opened the doors. Chief Justice Orso Hawker and Judge Heron Garasi entered the room. "Good evening, Mr. President. It's great to see you." "Evening." "Welcome, Justice Garasi and Chief Justice Hawker." "Good to see you indeed." Orso gestured at the sofa in the office. "May I?" "Yes, let's have a seat, gentlemen." We all took our seats on 2 opposite sofas and made ourselves comfortable. Orso glanced at the glass of whiskey. "Celebrating something, Mr. President?" Can we get to the point? I was just trying to relax. Don't think that's relevant to our meeting. Forgive me. Would you also like to have a drink? I'm not going to ask for forgiveness here. It'd be amazing if the text would become all garbled after having that drink. If like you have like a few too many shots, it starts to like become blurry or throw the spellings off or something, implying slurred speech with its spellings. I don't think that's relevant to our meeting. Get off my case, Mr. Hawker. I don't think that's relevant to our meeting. He gave me a blank stare and readjusted himself on the sofa. Don't want him to be too comfortable now. Forgive me, Mr. President. He cleared his throat. So, you probably know why we're here. Oh, he definitely wanted a drink, right? Please, enlighten us, Mr. Hawker. A little bit of sarcasm goes a long way. We know you're working on a new constitution. The Supreme Court does not approve of this. With all due respect, the Constitution needs to be updated, sir. I'm sure you're well aware of the public demand and our circumstances. Is that so? I see that you're the one who is not... I see that you're the one who's not aware of our actual circumstances. You want to make a weaker constitution in the midst of problems from both inside and outside. Even if your proposal passes the Assembly, I will make sure it will not pass the Supreme Court. That much is clear. Haven't you seen the proposal yet? Isn't it too soon to be against it? So you came here to threaten us? We can figure something out. We'll get the court too, even if you do not cooperate. I was listening to Hawker as he has some very valid points on the situation in Sordland and is an expert on how to legally take more power for yourself. Good point. He will have all the legal advice that one could ever need. Come on, Mr. Hawker. We can figure something out. We can. If you decide to give us a listen. Aw, damn, Zuka, I just saw your message came in just a second after I clicked. Mr. President, you seem to be only partially informed about the current situation. Please, let us explain the reasons of our stance. Let's hear it. We are protecting the Constitution because it works, Mr. President. It is efficient, and it gives you the authority to lead the nation with swift decisions. Sordland has more important problems and threats that we should face right now instead of nitpicking about some paragraphs of the Constitution. We have a potential war within our borders. Orso signaled Heron with his hand to let him speak instead. Mr. President, I know that you're a busy man, so I will make this quick. We all know that Sorder security forces found stashes of Rumburgian weaponry in the hideouts of Blutish separatists. KA-74s are roaming inside Sordland at this moment. As much as Runeberg poses a direct threat, now it's clear that they are also intervening in our country and weaponizing our minorities against us. It's not unprecedented to think that the Bloods will start their terror again with their new toys. Not to mention the fights that broke out between the left and right wing after the shooting of Bernard Circus. Communists are rising with the support of United Contana. The chaos is imminent for Sordland. And sadly, we don't see the administration taking the necessary precautions yet. We clearly need more funding for our security forces for the days to come. Interestingly, Put, I think. Hawker wants power for Hawker. We want power for Rain. True that. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can't glean something off of him. KA-74 is, yes, a play on the AK-74, yeah. It's a play on the AK-47, but the AK-74 is also a gun, yes, but we're in the 50s, so the... Well, why would we call the KA-74, actually? That's a... You raise a very good point. Because it was oh, okay, because the design work began in 1874. That's kind of funny. Okay. But yes, I guess it would be a play on the AK-47 because the game is actually set in the 50s. So, 1974 hasn't come around yet. But yes, absolutely. Don't you agree with this as it is? You wanted to maintain your own power. This will allow you to do exactly that while also increasing your power in a totally legal way with no risk from the court. Well, the thing is, Sam Hampton, is that right now, if we want to make an amendment, if Anton Rain wishes to make a change, the Supreme Court is able to stop it, which means there is somebody above us. And is that what we want? Don't we want to be top dog? Security budget is great, I imagine, if you help out the military factions. Oh, exactly. We're going to be putting money into the police forces and the military for sure. And it'll be power that supports us, exactly. Just make Hawker think he's in charge and use him to gain more power. He's just a means to an end. That's also true. That's also true. David B., how's it going, buddy? I'm glad you can make it. First day of 10 days of summer staycation. That sounds awesome. People downplay the staycation. I love a good staycation. You unplug... You just chill and vibe. It's fantastic. Are you doing like at home staycation, or are you like pushing down to like a hotel or something nearby, or like a B&B or something nearby to do it? But welcome to 10 days of pure bliss. I hope, David B. And thanks for coming through. I think I'll just straight up tell him, yeah, I'm going to be increasing that funding. That's our plan anyway. I will actually be increasing the security budget shortly. Mr. Hawker, did you not pay attention to my election promises that won me this seat? Come on now. I'm relieved to hear that. But regardless of that, are you also aware that the armed Bludish separatists have direct connections with the Workers' Party of Bludia? Oh my God, number 4. Wow, number 4 is definitely what we're gonna do, but yikes. It's the most fitting to our playthrough's personality or character, as it were. 3 is advocating for how they're separate. 2 is just taking their side as well. Everybody knows that is a rather laissez-faire attitude. Like, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But 4 that's a big yikes. Oh, that's awesome, David. That should be a fun time. Bane voice, do you feel... Sorry. Bane voice. That's my Bane voice. God, what terrible audio mixing. Yeah, I think we go with 4. Where's Ease at? This response is very, very, very fitting. I mean, they're all Bloods. They are. And both organizations want the same thing, to gain independence from Sordland. What is this all about? The only reason they're not in the assembly is because of the electoral threshold. They've gotten quite big. They are clearly getting outside help, and their connections to the paramilitary Bludish force cannot be denied. No, it's okay, it's okay. He's probably like busy with work or something. It's all good. Fussin19, you gotta go. Looks cool, so I'm going to hit episode 1 so I can watch from the beginning. Sounds good. Well, hey, thanks for dropping by. It's a super fun game, so do enjoy the catch-up. We'll be back with it next Friday again, so if you're caught up by then, you'll see it all go down live and be able to participate in some of the choices and stuff as well. But thanks for coming through and dropping by, and enjoy the VODs. Exactly, Spindle. The Blood people are not sword people, so... Yeah, well, whatever. They're all Bloods. They're all the same. Right, okay. And all of a sudden, the reformists are trying to decrease the electoral threshold so that the Bloodish separatists can be legitimized in the assembly to achieve their aims of independence. Makes sense. Makes sense. I will not allow it to happen. Therefore, we need to work together. But I wish the only issues were the Bloodish terrorists in Rumburg. The reformists suggest changes would also bring the communists, who are backed by United Contana, into the assembly. Do you see the pattern yet? You're saying the reformists are working for foreign powers? There's no evidence about any of this. And what is your suggestion? We can see what they have to say. Alright. What's your suggestion? CJ, I think it every time. I think it every time, CJ. Oh my god, Elo Tree. That's... I love when... I love when people play that card in real life. But yeah, you're... Exactly. Whoa. My wife is an Agnos sword. I got nothing against, non-swordish people. My wife is an Agnos sword. What is your suggestion? We should take the necessary measures against communists and Bloodish plots, as well as increasing our military budget against a possible conflict with Rumburg. And of course, not fall into the traps of the reformists by listening to their demands. They are clearly plotting to weaken the president and our whole administration in order to exploit the situation. Which brings us to some very important information that we have. It's definitely something you need to hear, and it can change absolutely everything. With all due respect, Mr. President, I think this is getting slightly ridiculous. Let's hear him out, Lucien. Come on, let the Chief Justice talk, Lucien. Of course, sir. The person in question is Mr. Franz Richter himself, the leader of the reformists. So I was just looking at the chat. We have enough information to infer that he has ties with Arcasia. See, this is where things get funny. On the one hand, they say the reformists are trying to bring in the communists, and then on the other hand, they're saying Franz Richter has been going to Arcasia, which is decidedly not communist. They're in fact anti-communist. So it's like, which is it? Arcasia is aggressively growing their influence around the world, and now we have Mr. Richter coming up with these ridiculous demands for a new constitution amidst a chaotic period in Sordland. All the pieces seem to fit perfectly. That is why the Supreme Court will be doing what it takes to stop these reforms and preserve the Constitution. How would you know that Mr. Richter has ties to Arcasia? Mr. Galate, we all know he has been in Arcasia many times, because it's been documented. But what would you think if he has been making hidden flights to the country? He was hiding his flights to Arcasia? Sorry, no, I need to know this. Please explain. He has been spotted in a hotel in Arcasia last year, where they held a conference on economic development in volatile regions. Right around that time, he started to influence the masses into believing that our constitution is the reason for everything bad. His trip was not documented, nor was he an official guest of the conference. We believe that he had met President Walker behind closed doors. I also have a couple more photos of him that were taken in Arcasia in different cities. One is from a couple months back. Again, none of it is documented. He also attended another event in Lesbia last week. The Arcasian Minister of Foreign Affairs was there too. Richter is dangerous indeed. YouTube did not like you suggesting we murder a video game character there. Althor instructions unclear. For real, goddamn. It's obvious Richter can't have the interests of our glorious nation in mind. Absolutely, he's clearly dancing around. He's you know, doing the tango with Arcasia, clearly at every opportunity. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. How did you find out about this? Many Solis were already following his leads for quite some time, Mr. President. I cannot give away their identities, but I can give you the evidence. Oh, they've got evidence. He handed me a small file. It contained official documents from the Swordish border guard with highlighted dates that showed no trace of Franz Richter's name. There were clear photos of him that were taken in the conference in Arcasia, as well as remarks by Lesbian and Arcasian citizens who claimed to have seen him with Arcasian businessmen around the same dates. Very problematic. There was also an official transcript of one of his speeches where he claimed to be in Benfi on the dates of the conference in Arcasia where he was spotted. Wow, that's actually sketchy. He straight up lied about being somewhere else when he was at this conference. I mean, there's photos and stuff. It's you know, you can't fake photography. Photos are always tell the truth. Ross Young, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. If you are, you know what to do. Again, let me know down below. Always makes a very big difference in just what I do on the channel. The truth of photography was a very interesting. It's a very interesting bit of art history. Always fun to read up on. Photoshopping has existed for air quotes. Photoshopping has existed for a lot longer than one might think. There are a lot of very famous photos that have been extremely adjusted to tell a different truth. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't be impossible to in the 50s. It would not be impossible to comp in Franz Richter into an empty shot where there's a space to comp him in. He is the Chief Justice. Of course, his evidence is perfectly legal. According to himself, anyway. Exactly. As the Rat Bastard says, he will make it legal. Lucian skimmed through the documents with skepticism, which slowly turned into surprise. These seem to be real. Of course they're real, Mr. Galati. These seem to suggest that Arcasia is behind the reformists. The demands will only benefit Arcasia. They want us to have a weaker administration while we face all these threats. This is clearly a plot against Sordland. I bet Rumburg is a part of their plan too. This cannot be a coincidence that they are weaponizing our minorities against us around the same time. Now you understand the reasons for our current stance, and also our suspicions about your advisors, who clearly have not given you this vital information. Lucian gave him a sharp look. We appreciate the information, Mr. Hawker, but I advise against jumping to conclusions right away. We still need to check the information. There is not much to think or check. This is clearly an emergency. In such cases, the Constitution gives the President the right to use his emergency powers. If we work together, you can be sure that the Supreme Court will not block your declaration of emergency. Ah, here we go. See, even though we gave support to the reforms, this opportunity was not taken away from us. All good, Sackett. How's it going, buddy? Glad you can make it. Having a good time, I hope. Healthor, that's a good example. There's many. In fact, many images of many heroic images from war will have evidence of looting edited out. There's a lot of famous photos out there. I mean, I could talk about this for hours. Literally, this history fascinates me. Maybe I will talk about it someday, like in the Discord for hours. But there's some very, important, again, heroic photos that are like points of pride that have been edited to remove, questionable evidence of questionable behavior from, soldiers and things like that. It's really interesting stuff. Anyway, sorry. Let's talk about how we can work together. Emergency powers do seem appropriate. These threats are very real and very hard to ignore. Absolutely, Spindle. Absolutely. Let's talk about how we can work together here. Of course, we cannot wait for the processes of the Assembly to take care of these issues. You must exercise your presidential powers for a fast and effective solution, which means you might need to suspend parts of the Constitution to give more authority to our security forces to deal with these issues. We must officially investigate Mr. Richter as well. You can devise a strong security decree if you can base it on the Articles 57 and 58, which gives the President the right to suspend parts of the Constitution to deal with the national security threats. Yo, this is... Oh, damn. Yo, Ease! What's up, buddy? Like, goddamn, right on time, right on cue. Right on cue. We're about to enact emergency powers, it looks like. Which is... it's gonna be a good time, I think. These are huge threats to our nation. The old guard are suggesting a method of eradicating them and gaining more power. We can also move for reforms later on once we have the situation under control. Exactly, Sam, exactly. Look, emergency powers are only temporary while we try and make sure everything's in order. We can't have these subversive elements tear our nation apart, right? So we enact these emergency powers, we make sure everything's okay, and then we can start talking about the reform. It's all good, nothing to worry about. Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. If you don't cheer at the end of my speech until your hands bleed, do you really deserve to be in the photo? Yikes. Is this based on a thing? See, this man knows what he's talking about. You'd almost think he wrote these articles himself. Yeah, almost. Emergency powers just to make sure idiots don't vote on things they don't understand. Exactly. You can directly bypass the assembly in such a situation. The only thing you need is a Supreme Court to allow the emergency to be declared. And you have our word on that. Sir, I think this is going a bit too far. We shouldn't escalate things so fast. Mr. President, why don't we talk in private, only two of us? We're going to devise a plan together. I know how we can use the Constitution to our advantage. It would be more effective if Mr. Galade and Mr. Garasi leave the room before we discuss it. Sir, I advise against it. Oh, man. I don't know. I kind of want to do two here. I like your idea, but I'd rather plan it together. But he obviously, you know, it's tough. This is a classic kind of move as well. Bring one of your cronies along, so when the going gets real and you have to ask for a private conversation, you can make it look like you're sending your own buddy out as well, right? This is like classic. It doesn't affect him if Garasi is in the room or not. Not like it affects me having Lucien in the room or not. Lucien just wants to be in on the power play because he's a power-hungry mongrel. Do you think so? We haven't seen evidence of him being that kind of a problem just quite yet. Go full hawk should be a shirt. Go full hawk. Oh dear lord. Let's see how this run goes, and we can put in some some visual what's it called, like plays on that. I think, like what again, one of my favorites of the new merch is it had to be done because it has all those nifty little details of some sneaky Easter eggs. So maybe we'll see Go Full Hawk, my lord. Either that or Rain Train. Rain Pain Train. Oh my god, all the rain puns. Ones or twos. Zuka. You were full hawk a moment ago, now you're baby hawk. One or two. I'm leaning one. Oh man, this is gonna be so different from our last run. I have no idea what's gonna go down. Could you leave us alone with Mr. Hawker, gentlemen? Lucien stood up as Orso gave him a smile. Heron paid his respects and left with Lucien, leaving me and Orso alone. That's what I was thinking as well, Kai. Yeah, I clicked it and I immediately have regrets. I wish there was an undo button, like a 30-second undo button. I kind of already regret sending him off. Too late. Story of my life. A life of regrets. So, Mr. President, if you stop the Reform Committee meetings immediately and focus on the real threats, I will guarantee you we will manage the reformists together. You must eliminate these threats, both internal and external. An emergency act can help you do that. We cannot trust anyone in the administration either. I guess it's between 2 or 3 here, because I do want to know more, I think. I do want to do more, I think. Not do more, sorry, no more. Legal detail. Oh, damn. So legal details is definitely like a self-centered question. It's like, okay, hold on. I need to understand exactly like the loopholes here. How can we fight these threats? Oh, that's an interesting point. You don't want to be manipulated. Don't be the one asking for information all the time. Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. Yeah, we'll see if we can do something about Hawker's power over us. John Pizgoki, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're having a good time, buddy. I hope I didn't butcher your name there. If I did, please let me know how to correct myself, because I do try. But I apologize if I ruined that one. Thanks for subscribing, bud. Hope you're having a good time. Yeah, you're the leader, not the I don't know dude. It's a good way to put it. No, I agree. Sordland is in a state of crisis, for sure. Yes. I know what I'm talking about. We have to be careful. If we are going to do this, we do have to be careful, because yeah, who ends up truly in control? My brain is not ready for this extremely major playthrough defining decision right now. Oh man, I should always just have a cup of tea before my Suzerain streams. It's a risk not to. Yes, this is very serious. According to Article 58, if public security and order are seriously disturbed or endangered within the Republic of Sordland, the President of Sordland may modify and suspend parts of the Constitution, subject to confirmation by the Supreme Court, to determine the validity of the declaration of a state of emergency. Ooh. Which parts of the Constitution can we modify or suspend? William Lynch, thank you very much for subscribing, buddy. Hope you're having a good time, and if you are, again, you know what to do. Let me know down below. So difficult to be a despot and trying to do what you want with all these people wanting you to do what they want. It really is. It's been so challenging. I thought it was going to be an easier, like, decision-making run, you know? Sam, ask about the legality to show that you don't want to fall into a trap, and he knows you're in it for yourself and not to be his puppet. Also a good point. Also a good point. There's so many ways to, like, swing any of these conversations, you know? Alicia, how's it going? A bit late today. How's everyone's favorite despot doing? I mean, I think he's doing pretty well. We're looking like we're about to kick off emergency powers, so that'll be interesting if that ends up happening. Very early in the playthrough as well. Hope you're having a good Friday, though. And you know what they say, a wizard is never late. Oh, dear. Okay, I'm curious. Which parts of the Constitution can we modify or suspend? That is kind of a gray area. The Constitution states that no state shall, in the case of national emergency, modify or suspend the rights of freedom, defined in Article 100 of the Constitution, unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. Such imminent danger, that can definitely be argued to be the case. A bit late, what's going on? So we are in the middle of a conversation with our Chief Justice about enacting emergency powers to give us more control over the nation, more direct control over the nation. Also, welcome, bud. Glad you can make it. Hope you're having a good day. I wonder how many cigars we've gone through today. I wonder how many cigars we've gone through during this conversation. Such imminent danger, that can definitely be argued to be the case, 100%. With these closing embassies, consulates and embassies. Exactly. It can definitely be argued that we are under such imminent danger because of Runeberg. Not to mention United Contana's support for a communist coup in Sordland, as well as Franz Richter's involvement with Arcasia, which is definitely connected to all of these problems. And of course, that is up to the Supreme Court to decide. So that is not a problem. Can't the Assembly simply revoke it? According to the Constitution, only the President and the Grand National Assembly can revoke the emergency after it is declared. That is correct. However, as long as your party is in line, they will never have a majority to revoke it immediately. So, no, they cannot simply revoke it. Oh, damn, they need a supermajority. Oh, damn, okay. Hang on a second, hold on. Okay, this is interesting. So if we keep our party in line, if everybody this is the thing, right? This is the thing. If everybody gets what they kind of want in our party, then they have no reason to vote against our emergency powers or to vote to revoke our emergency powers. And we could hopefully keep a near indefinite continuation of them. Interesting. Okay. How can we effectively silence the opposition? We may need to increase surveillance on our political rivals to find out about their connections and plots. Bringing unlimited detention would allow you to arrest people as necessary, such as Mr. Richter. Wow, oh my god. What if the investigations cannot find anything incriminating? He needs to be eliminated. That might be going too far. I think he needs to be eliminated. He's clearly a threat to the integrity of our nation. Clearly. No, exactly, Sam Hampton. I imagine most of them, the vast majority of our party, probably is going to be happy about this Emergency Act. There will be a couple of defectors, I imagine. We just want to make sure we don't lose too many. I know, this was just a short afternoon meeting. Man, I was like... I think when I tweeted out that we're going live, I was like, last session we put the me in media. Let's see what happens today. Apparently we're ripping apart the Constitution, kicking off a state of emergency. It is wild. The music is especially good at making it chilling, I find. He needs to be eliminated. I agree. In an emergency, anything is possible, Mr. President. Holy crap. The Supreme Court will support your decisions. Holy crap. This is... Holy crap. Ren coming through, joining in as the latest channel member. Folks, can I see the banners and E's go up to give a warm welcome to our latest knight? Thank you very much, Ren. Again, that kind of support really helps the channel, really helps keep us alive and running smoothly, as I like to say, and keeps these streams sustainable as well. I appreciate it greatly. And I'll be updating our credits list at the end of this week as well, or at this weekend, as normal people say. And I'll make sure to get your name up there. And if you're not in the Discord already, Bud, man, you can tell I've had a long week. If you're not already in our Discord, don't hesitate to dive in and let us know your Discord username as well, so we can get you your title. I love to see those banners and E's go up. It's always a beautiful sight. Thank you very much, Bud. Appreciate it greatly. Appreciate it greatly. Sam Hampton, yeah, exactly. Albin Clavin, he's the problem. He's the problem person, right? In our party, he's kind of a reformist within our party. I'm so scared this might heavily backfire. Oh, 100%, Zuka, 100%. It wouldn't be a party elite playthrough if things don't horribly backfire at least once or twice. Thing is, yeah, exactly. Like, are we buddy, or is he gonna come back around and you know, cause us some issues? Elizabeth on the mind, very much so. Instructions unclear, very much so. She's become extra mischievous lately. Extra mischievous. Oh my god, it's wild. More on that later though. But yes, absolutely, apparently. As long as you stick with the plan, I doubt Hawker is going to take you out, because it would risk having a less cooperative president. That's also true. Yeah, he's lucky to have us. We could maybe have a very symbiotic relationship over here. Where do we begin? Okay, let's talk about the details of this emergency act. Sorry to interrupt, but I won't be going ahead with this. Okay, let's talk about the details. Should we let's talk about the details. I want to take, to your point in chat, I want to take a bit more of an authoritarian position over here, rather than always asking the questions. So let's talk about the details of this emergency act. I appreciate it, Ren. I appreciate the kind words and the support. It really does mean a lot. It keeps me going in more ways than one. Appreciate it greatly. You must first justify the emergency act. We need to have at least one target that we can blame the conflicts on. They will be declared as a national security threat, and this would allow us to prosecute their members or people connected to them. There are obvious connections between the Blutish separatists and Rumburg, and the separatists have clear connections to the Workers' Party of Blutia. They should be declared a national security threat, and the party should be banned. Okay. That's his advice, I see. These Blood separatists have no place in Sordland. They will not be tolerated. That seems like a most fitting answer, especially matching our earlier answer where we were just like, yeah, they're all Bloods. They're all the same. They will be our targets. I don't want to create problems with our Blutish citizens. There's not enough evidence to connect the separatists with the Workers' Party. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's just like, can we make the wrong choice here? I don't know. I imagine Orso Hawker knows what he's talking about. So, you know, I think we can go along with his plan here. Bloody Bloods, ruddy Rumburgians, creepy communists. Get one for the Arcasians as well. I can't think of one that says as clean as some of those. Zuka Dragon coming through with a super chat. Thank you very much, bud. Again, super chats again really help the channel, really help these streams. I appreciate it greatly, bud. Gotta go get food and stuff, but this is awesome. Have a good dictatorship. I'm sad I have to leave. Sounds good. I like, my brain automatically filled in the word "have a good day," and then dictatorship starts with a D as well. That was priceless. I love it. Thank you very much, bud. Enjoy your meal. Thanks for dropping by. Good to have you in chat again. And yeah, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the support over the years, bud. Enjoy that meal though. Thanks for coming through. Awful Arcasians. There we go. That's a good one. My A words of choice were a lot darker. Yeah, one could be deportation. It could be. You're in too deep to back out now. Just go full throttle. You're right. All right, sounds good, Zuka. Sounds good. And we'll catch you up in the Discord afterwards if you don't make it back in time. Yeah, I'm worried here. What if this backfires? What if this backfires? Jeez, goddamn. I don't think he would propose something that he doesn't think is airtight. You know, I don't think that would be his first option. We could try 4. We could try and say, like, there's not enough evidence, and he might be like, oh, but on the contrary, there is. Here's the evidence. Oh, we're not secretive about our opinion about the Bloods, is the thing. 2 is blunt, 1 is subtle. They both say the same. I think 1 also implies our personal opinion on the Bloods, and lines it up a bit more with what we'd probably actually say. Oh, jeez. All right, chat, 1 or 4? Do we go with 1 or do we go with 4? My thinking is, if we say 4, if we say there's not enough evidence, he might say like, oh, but there is. Here's the evidence, and then we'd be like, all right, cool. We don't have to worry about that. 1 is just like taking at face value, assuming he knows what he's talking about, which is fair. He probably does, right? He wouldn't have suggested it otherwise. Seeing a few 1s come through right now. Oh, interesting point, Yellow Tree. Do we want to make this personal? Interesting point. It's too late to pull out. Well, it wouldn't pull out, but he will have... See, what he's saying is we have to choose the right target. And this is only the first target he's suggested. So if I say, well, there's no evidence here, he might be like, okay, fair enough. Here's another target, right? That's what I mean. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4s. All right, I guess we'll go with 1 then. I hope this doesn't backfire. These Blood separatists have no place in Sordland. They will not be tolerated. And yeah, it seems we've made it personal. Good point, though. That was a good point about that. I wonder if this'll... The nuance is excellent. Oh, multiple targets. Okay, Orso Hawker. Hey, we were going to do this anyway. The Red Youth must also be our target. They are plotting a communist revolution in Sordland with clear funding from United Contana. And now they took to the streets after the death of Bernard Circus. There are already clashes and protests on the streets, which must be dealt with before it gets out of hand. You can also justify an action against the Young Swords. After all, they started all this mess with the commies, and they killed a man right near the Maroon Palace. That can be considered a declaration of war against the state itself. Now, I'm quite partial to the Young Swords. We were a member of the Young Swords when we were children. So, you know, it could be said that the Young Swords were only trying to protect our glorious nation from the threats of Bernard Circus's teachings. And this was the only way to do it. It was the only way to make it clear that his divisive line of thinking has no place in Sordland. Right? Yes, Sam, I didn't realize we could target multiple groups. I think the Young Swords are fine. Good patriots, exactly. Red Youth must be targeted before they get too powerful to trigger a revolution. Oh, this music, man. They are an enemy of the state. The state must react. God damn, this conversation. But let's talk about how we can deal with them. We should eliminate the threats on our streets first. The police should have the authority to disperse crowds as necessary. We also have to keep the streets clean from the socialist thugs and Bludish separatists. Agreed. We should give more authority to the police regarding their use of force. They should be able to stop and frisk as necessary, especially in Bludish neighborhoods. Oh my god. Nod. We should suspend the right to protest and disperse the crowds. The police should stop and frisk based on... Okay, so do both, do one, do the other. I see. I'm so surprised that we got to this point already. Impressively, they've made such a broad game with such completely different routes to go. Me too, Alicia. 100%. I was just saying that. I think just like seconds before you arrived. Like, it's like when I woke up today, I wasn't expecting to be, you know, tossing the Constitution out the window. I was just like, yeah, you know, it'd be another small step towards a dictatorship. Minor things. You know, we did media control last time, 2 times ago. What did we do 2 times ago? Something, I forget now. And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's crank it up to 11, sorry. I was not expecting this escalation, but I love it. I think he's got a point. The police will also need permissions for increased surveillance against these organizations. They should be able to search properties without warrants, and wiretapping should be permissible beyond its current limits. They will also need to be able to act swiftly. If a person is suspected of crimes against the national security of Sordland, the police should be able to detain them without trial. We cannot allow them proper trials anyway. Oh my... This is almost starting to feel like a test. Like, it's like he's wired, you know, it's like he's wearing a wire, and he's recording this conversation so that he can go back to, like, somebody somewhere and be like, look at all the things he agreed to, oh my god. Dictatorship, elected autocrat, potato potato. Yeah, exactly. This is escalating for real, man. Elena Kelly, how's it going? Hope you're having a good Friday. Oh my god, this is escalating. Oh, ease, yeah, without hesitation, without hesitation. Just gonna nod along, yeah, I nodded. There are also the external threats we must face. Runeberg has acted hostile in the past, and now they are arming the Bloods. We must cut all ties with them. They need to be embargoed. Their citizens must be barred from entering Sordland. Halthor, pretty much, yeah. David P. is thinking the same. Doing well, glad to hear it, glad to hear it. You got a exciting long question mark weekend planned? Assert yourself, don't just nod to everything Orso has to say. Oh, true, well, Elotree, the quote-unquote unfortunate thing is that there are the three options. One is to nod, which means agree to both things he suggested, and then one option is to agree to just one thing, and the other option is to just agree to the other thing. And we want total control, right? We want to go full Judge Dredd, as Yuja is suggesting there. Am I saying that right? By the way, please feel free to correct me if I'm getting it wrong. Have you never spoken to conspiracy guys? No, I've been fortunate not to have had that in my life. No. Nodding won't be recorded. Oh, that's, you know what? That's true. And it's the 50s. I guess pen cameras and button cameras are a thing in the 50s. So we could there could be footage as well. But good point. Nodding can't be recorded. That's a good point. That's very clever, actually. Yeah, just keep nodding. I'll have the I never said yes to this. Genius. Genius. I love this. Y'all are being real clever in chat. I like it. We must erase all of their influence in Sordland, weaken their trade, and give them a message. This is where things start to get scary. But Runeberg is our biggest enemy. We must react. And of course, we need to prepare our army in any case. They have a very powerful military, and they seem to have plans on our soil. Then there are the superpowers. Both are influencing our nation to be in their spheres. It seems Arcasia already bought Mr. Richter and possibly is behind all of this. And United Contana is funding Swordish communists against our state. But we cannot bow down to the superpowers. Sordland must stand tall. We will not bow to them, Mr. Hawker. That was never the plan. I know we won't. They tried to divide Sordland before, but we came out stronger after the Civil War. We will come out stronger out of this again. I do hope so, Mr. President. It will all be up to you. Orso looked at the clock in the office, and then outside the window. Mr. President, I have taken too much of your time already. I'll be reaching out again after you dissolve the Reform Committee and end the pursuits for reform. And here it is. Wow. Wow. Ooh, Elena, I hope you feel better by then. Sunday, you got time, Rest up, you know, have a cup of tea, some cardamom in there, take the right meds, have a lie down. I hope you're feeling top notch for camping. Camping has become such a broad term. Is it like pure wilderness camping, or is it like a designated camping ground, or is it like fancy camping, or... I've been meaning to go out of the city for, well, a year and a half now. Haven't been able to. Orso is so full of hate, maybe his wife refuses sharing the bed with him. No. See, he gets so much love at home, which is why he seems to be so full of hate over here. And no, it's not hate, it's love. It's love for his country. He loves Sordland, and everything he says and does is because of that love, that pure, unadulterated love for Sordland. Oh, that's awesome. Ellie, that sounds like a lot of fun. I think I see majority in favor of proceeding with the deal. All right, let's do it. I do see some protest. I do wonder if he's playing us. Oh, he must be, right? Is he going to have us killed, or are we going to have him killed? That's the question. That's the question. I will stop the reforms shortly. Let's do it. Proceed with the deal. Here we go. Ease. Coming with the hammer, with the gavel. That's great to hear. He slowly got up from the sofa. It was great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to our cooperation, Mr. President. Cooperation, sorry. We shook hands on our deal. This also meant that I made an unholy alliance with the old guards. Oh no. Have a good evening, Mr. Rain. Good evening, Mr. Hawker. He left the room. After he left, I called in Lucian and explained to him about my decision to stop the reforms, and called Peter to dissolve the committee on the next day. This was a point of no return. Okay, that was ridiculously early. I was expecting this to happen in like chapter 5 or 6, like way late in the game would these kinds of conversations begin. This is ridiculously early. Looks like we have some news to check out. I presume about the dissolution of this, no, okay, just about our meeting. I guess the news hasn't come out yet about our dissolving this committee. Chief Justice Orso Hawker has been spotted entering the Maroon Palace. Our sources are intrigued by the timing of this visit that is happening right after the increased conversations around the so-called democratic reform. Historically, Mr. Hawker usually does not frequent the palace unless for official business, and this was certainly an unplanned visit. Clearly there must be something he wants out of this. Our speculation is that this has something to do with the reforms. More to come on this later. Oh man, this is wild. Easy Toran, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. If you are, again, you know what to do. Let me know down below. Hit that like button. It really helps me make some calls on the channel with regards to what to do, what not to do. Y'all know the drill. Here we go indeed. Here we go indeed. I accepted the deal from Orso Hawker to stop the constitutional reform. Turn 2. This playthrough is going to be extremely different. Holy crap. Trials of democracy. Yeah, boy, I'd say. Oh, 100%. That's going to be our end game. I don't know if that's going to be the end game or if it's going to be our like mid game, to be honest, at this rate. I feel like right now we're going to talk about how we get all these people out of the country. It looks like the news has gotten out about the committee. Lots of little alerts as well. All right, let's start out over here. What's going on in these villages at Narble? The mayor of Narble has reported that their hospitals are overburdened and they're unable to respond to the needs of the citizens. He complained about months-long waiting lists for terminally ill patients. On top of the capacity issues, it was also noted that the facilities are still largely using outdated technology. What do you want me to do about it? We should get the private industries in there. Privatized healthcare always works completely flawlessly, right? It'll work great for Narble. It'll be perfect. Sarna down over here. Bludish resistance and sanctuaries, of course. What else do they know? Security units have arrested the 3 priests at 2 different Nuridi sanctuaries in Sarna after finding links to insurgent activities. Are any of us surprised? The report came from an elderly man who wanted to pray in peace, but instead found himself invited to join the Bludish Freedom Front by a state-sanctioned priest. Further incidents indicate that the BFF is pushing for a local recruitment drive in different sanctuaries across the region. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. This is what happens when we allow Bloods in Bergia. Bloods in Bergia sounds like a fun summer comedy movie, you know, Bloods and Bergia. It sounds like a road trip movie. It's like a Euro trip. Recession hits farmers again. As for the latest news from Lackhaven, the farming industry has taken another hit as a result of the recession. There are reports that 16% of all wheat in Lackhaven is rotting in barns due to a lack of buyers. Farmers are requesting additional funds from the government to survive the year. Okay, interesting. Over at Earlery, Young Sword and NFP flags burned, and this is why we have to eliminate the threat of the Red Youth. A massive counter-protest against Young Swords, led by a local politician known to be aligned with the Red Youth, resulted in many injuries and property damage. Subsequently, Young Swords and National Front Party flags were burnt, which caused tensions to escalate. Local police dispersed the protesters by sundown. The Bloods originate from Bergia. No. Bergia is good swordish land. What are you talking about? Look, if we're not rewriting history, then are we really being a despot? If we're not completely authoring a false narrative to strengthen our stance, we're not truly playing a despot, are we? Alright, what does Boren have to say? Communist books burned in Boren. That's not very Boren at all. Local residents gathered thousands of books that they claimed to be spreading communist and millennialist propaganda at the Century Park in Boren and set the books on fire. Aggressive slogans targeting the Red Youth, the Workers' Party of Bludia, and the Communist Party of Sordland were shouted. Youth groups from the local party offices of the USP and NFP also joined in with the burning. The fire department was dispatched, and the protesters dispersed on their own. See? When the protesters are good swordish protesters, they know when things go maybe too far, things can happen, you know, mob mentality, they know that they should disperse on their own. Don't need to bring out the cops or anything. God. Burning books is always a good idea. Absolutely. As long as it's the right books, right? Is this game based on the... No, so it draws inspiration from a few, I think, real locations to make this kind of melange, if you will, a blended nation of a blended history kind of a thing. But you will see hints of a few different parts of the world sort of hinted at throughout the game, yeah. But it is, again, entirely fictional. Bergia was part of Welland, but annexed into Sordland, but is the homeland of the Bloods. No. Exactly. Okay, but you get me. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Yeah, no. Bloods, what? No, they're not from Bergia. Bloods are from somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of modeled after Turkey to an extent conversation. I don't know where that's from, but because I see a lot of patterns to other parts of the world as well in terms of some of the conversations that happen. So I wonder where that comes from. If it's directly from the developers' mouths, that's one thing. But if it's somebody's theory, then it's very possible that person is familiar with, Turkish history, but not the history of other parts of the world that also line up. Because I can think of 4 or 5 nations in the real world, or 4 or 5, I should say, parts of the world that line up with the stuff that we deal with in this game. Bloods are from Mars. So again, where are those coming from, Jazzy and Sam? Like, again, if it's from the devs, fair enough. But if it's from somebody who's theorizing, then it's like, oh, I can think of other equivalents to the Bloods as well. Like, as Amar Chaturvedi says, I think it's from India. Like, it could be the Indian subcontinent, it could be Eastern Europe, it could be the Balkans, it could be Anatolia. There are a lot of places with these kinds of circumstances. So I'm just curious, are these like fan theories, or are these confirmed by the developers? Because again, if it's fan theories, it's cool to theorize, but it's important to remember as well that theories are born from what people know. And I could tell you, like I said, 3 or 4 or 5 different places that this could be based off of. Anyway, let's take a look at the news now. I want to make sure we actually take a look at some of this stuff and make some more progress. Fascinating conversations. That's why I get so drawn up in them. It is confirmed by the devs that it is based off of Turkey. You believe? Okay, curious. I'll look that up so I can answer that question more, with more authority down the line. You can basically form theories between insert any complicated part of history. Precisely that. Exactly that. They've done a very good job of making it. That's the thing. They make this all feel so real. They've done such a good job of it. I'd be curious how much time in development was spent on research alone, you know? And how many, like, advisors did they have on working with them? Or with them, for them, you know what I mean? School poisoning in Ribble. Police have arrested the principal of a high school in Ribble, in southern Bergia, where 12 students died after eating a free meal laced with pesticide. The students, aged between 15 and 17, died after eating a lunch of local dish of zabla, cooked at the school in a poverty-stricken city. Police have started the investigation to solve the mystery of how the pesticide ended up in the food. Very good. Let's see what everybody else has to say first before we look at the radical. Upcoming government budget changes. As the top economy experts in the country, we've been watching the upcoming changes to the government budget very closely. President Anton Rein's first internal economical challenge lies ahead, and we will see if he can prove his capabilities as a leader who could think ahead. The potential ramifications of diverting the funding to certain governmental branches has always been a point of contention for any leader, and it is no different for the case here. We will see if President Rein can hold onto the promises he has given during the election campaign. Oh, you bet we're holding onto those. Geopolitical has this to say: Van Horten blames Volksland for the missing fishing vessel. On Tuesday morning, Agnolia's Prime Minister Van Horten has made a statement denouncing Volksland for the missing vessel, hull number ARV-0238. Our dutiful Coast Guards have rescued a crew member of the missing vessel. Through his statement, we have learned the ship's unfortunate end was none other than the Volkslandian Navy. However, the Prime Minister has refused to disclose the surviving crew members due to fear of an assassination attempt from Volksland, to cover up their hostility, as the minister later claimed. Wow, jeez. Happened so long ago, I didn't even remember this from our previous playthrough. Yeah, exactly. Economists, self-proclaimed economy experts. It's like, No, Halford, the very good was about the police investigation, not about the school poisoning. Oh my god. No. Very good that they're investigating it. The Economist will simultaneously criticize me for spending too much and then saying I had too much budget left unspent in the same turn. The Economists are, can't even spell economy. They're interesting. They're interesting. They'll be more on our side, I think, this playthrough than they were last. Almost certainly. And now the Radical. What do they have to complain about? Time for women to stand up. The women in Sordland have always been under pressure by the unequal society and the system of discrimination that was built by old men who only knew about war, said Katarina Horton in a women's rally that was held in Holsword yesterday. Swordish League of Women is organizing a number of rallies across Sordland to bring the change to Sordland desperately needs. To bring the change Sordland desperately needs. My apologies, folks. It is time for Sordland to realize that we have to respect every individual regardless of their sex and strive to become an advanced civilization. Women have long been pushed to the corners of the social and political life. To address this change, a new campaign was started all over Sordland to establish a framework for women's rights. Swordish League of Women is organizing rallies with the support from Minister of Education Ciara Walda and Member of the Assembly Katarina Horton. Everybody is equal according to the Swordish Constitution, but there are no protections against discrimination which only reinforces the inequality in practice, said Walda in a press conference. This movement must be supported by all Swordish women as well as men. We need to bring change now. We can do it. Oh, I just realized this is a reference to the that World War II poster. Oh, I forget the name. It has a name. It's a very famous poster with the engineer with her flexing her bicep, I believe it is. I think she's like a mechanic, like a wartime mechanic. Isn't that the? I can't remember this. It's a very famous. Poster from World War II. Can't remember it. Yeah, I was showing on reform, so this isn't going to come through either. Stand up and do those. Oh my god, Fizz George. That's exactly what I was thinking at first as well. It's like, well, you can hardly reach the countertop if you're sitting, so yeah. Questioning solist education. God. Anybody who's like not familiar with his channel is just like poking in to say hi. It's probably like, whoa. Questioning solist education. The newly unveiled SEPA Education Performance Report unveiled a sad reality about Sordland's abysmal status in comparison to many countries. More gibberish. Sordland was rated 39th out of the 68 nations that were assessed by the OMEC organization. The primary gauge of the quality of education is made from a sample of 16-year-olds from each nation and their capacity in fields like mathematics, history, chemistry, and many others. One of the key issues was seen as the strong focus on history and citizenship classes, leaving little time for scientific fields. I see. Minister Walda often mentioned the gaps in the system in her assembly debates before she joined the cabinet. This is also supported by one of our editors, a professor from Halsord State, who had long been critical of the situation in secondary education. The CEPA report reveals a damning truth, that Solist education, based on the principles of statism, nationalism, republicanism, poisons the bright minds of our children. We need to rid the system from the poison that is ideological indoctrination and let our future generations think for themselves. Get out of here with your radical thinking. Monica won't like us not doing women's rights, and Sierra will straight up... I mean, yeah, look, they'll be upset, but we're doing it for the greater good, and that's what matters. They need to understand that it's all for the greater good. Barbecue with Frank. Let's do it. Spend some time with the family. It's been a heavy day, right? All this talk of the impending emergencies and all this kind of stuff. What about their capacity in military service and loyalty to the state? No, remember, as a traditionalist, we believe that the way things have worked will continue to work for our glorious nation. There's no reason to make these kinds of changes. Everybody has their place in our society. No, barbecuing with Frank. Though, sometimes I wish it was that, Ren. It was a Saturday afternoon, my first break from work in what felt like years, and the weather couldn't have been more perfect. Trying to keep my mind off the upheaval sparked by the circus assassination, I lit the backyard grill. Monica and Deanna were out shopping for craft supplies, and I'd given the staff the day off. It was just myself and Frank at home. I wasn't sure how he felt about me at the moment, but I did know how he felt about barbecued ribs. Our cook had left some marinating in the fridge. Can't remember the last time I said the word refrigerator. Could barely get myself to say it this time. In fact, I couldn't get myself to say it this time. Sure enough, as soon as Frank glimpsed the grill and the meat, he stepped outside to join me. Come to spend some quality time with your old man, have you? Sure, if you can spare a few minutes out of your busy schedule. Children who talk back to their fathers don't get dinner. Fan these flames, will you? No. Look, son, I'm preoccupied with matters of national importance. I'm sorry. Now, again, we keep saying we want to be good family people, right? We want to be a good family man. A good family man by whose definition? Such a strange question to ask, maybe. Wait, child labor is abolished. They have to work for free. Yeah, we'll call it an internship. How about that? God. Slap a label on it. Make people find it more acceptable, more palatable. He is our heir. This is true. Yeah, I should probably be nice to him. Family first, right? Good family values. Good family values are a key driving force of our character. So, I know I haven't been around very often lately, but I'm happy to see you now. It's okay. I know you've got the most stressful job in the country, and you've got to feed your family on top of it all. We both chuckled. I turned to tend to the fire. Here, let me try. He grabbed the fan and started quickly waving it over the coals. The fire roared to life. I always loved fanning the flames on the. It's so cool. It's so fun. He turned to look at me with a grin on his face, as if he was expecting praise. Don't act like you've done something special, Frank. Good job. Thank you, sir. It is in our utmost interest to fulfill our duties with precision. The grilling shall commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impersonation of Lucian. We looked at each other for a second, then burst out laughing. I realized my throat was parched. There was a 6-pack of beer in the kitchen. Frank, can you get me a beer? Frank got up without saying anything, went to the kitchen, and returned with a cold beer. I'm not going to have my underage son drinking alcohol. Traditional family values, like I said. Whatever that means. Where's Serge? He's out and about. When we need to drive around at longer distances, he gets involved. Oh my god, sounds like a good pyromaniac. Oh dear. Thank you. I'm still going to be polite to him.
I opened the beer and gazed out at the city skyline. Father and son, we enjoyed the silence together. For a moment, my thoughts flashed back to my childhood and my relationship with my own father. My father was a rich man. We never had to worry about food, clothes, or anything else. Yet he was nearly always away, and constantly distracted on the rare occasions when he was at home. Now that I was the president, I was worried that I would end up just like my father, distant and absent from Frank's life. Dad, can I ask you something? Or family. You can ask anything. Almost. It's just, I feel like there's so much you've been hiding from me, about your past and about what's going on right now. Like at dinner that night after the ball, you told me everything was under control, but it wasn't, was it? I know what happened in the 20s. We learned all about it in school. Now, with the protests and the riots, is it going to be the same thing? Dad, is there going to be a civil war in Sordland? No, I will never let that happen. Good, but what was it like back then? Uncle Peter said the two of you went through a lot. I'm not a kid anymore, you can tell me. Before I could gather my thoughts, the familiar images started flashing before my eyes. Images of soldiers advancing towards me and my friends, weapons drawn, of people I knew, friends and neighbors, being dragged through the streets and murdered in alleyways. And that little girl's face. Those were dark times. It seems like it. But you're nearly a grown man. Let's talk about it. Frank leaned forward in his chair, his eyes wide. It was time to tell him about the coup of 1927. I was barely older than you are now. Studying economics at the Lackhaven Business School. I was a freshman, excited and young. I just left the classroom to go back home as I heard the sound of multiple vehicles approaching the campus gates. As they got closer, I realized they were military camouflage trucks and tanks carrying hundreds of soldiers. The same soldiers that were supposed to protect Sordland citizens pointed their guns at us. They immediately took control of the facilities. One of my friends asked what was going on and was arrested immediately. More people got angry and gathered in protest. Frank kept listening, a shocked look on his face. I was there with the protesters as they declared martial law. We marched towards them. They threatened to use force, but we stood our ground. So they started beating anyone they saw, including me. The physical wounds took a few weeks to heal, but the mental scars have stayed with me to this day. I tried my best to stay strong. Some of my friends were shot, many more arrested. I can't forget the screams to this day, but I am proud not to have faltered. Frank leaned back in his chair, his shoulders slumped heavily. Take a look at chat real quick over here, making sure that I have not missed anything. No, okay, looks like we're mostly aligned with my decision to be kind to our son. Adam Donnelly, how's it going, buddy? Having a good day, I hope. Let's tell Frank about the Civil War as well. It's time to tell him about the Civil War. It was right after I met your mother. We'd both joined the same political debate group to push for change after the coup of 27. Eventually, I became convinced I wasn't doing enough, so I joined the Young Swords. Then, one night, it happened. Two different factions in the army, one of them led by fascist General Lutheran and the other by socialist General Rickard, started fighting against each other. It was a bloodbath. Nowhere was safe. Frank shifted in his seat, visibly uncomfortable. So we organized a protest one day against Rickard. We were fed up with the army toying with the country again. I paused for a moment before continuing. It was horrible. They were waiting for us. Soldiers started beating and shooting at everyone and plowing their tanks into the crowd. Amid the chaos, there was this girl. I never forgot her face. I tried to save her, but I couldn't reach her in time. Frank's face had grown pale. He turned his eyes away from me. That's enough for today. It's okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you about it. I know I don't understand how easy my life is sometimes. One more thing, though. I know you joined the Young Swords back then. Do you mind if I ask why? Sordland was under attack by communists, and I had to defend the country. Frank raised his eyebrows, his curiosity still not satisfied, but sensing my reluctance to go on, he simply nodded. Sorry for bombarding you with questions. I know I complain sometimes, but my problems are nothing compared to what you went through. You're damn right. Your generation will never understand. No. I'm here to listen to them, Frank, no matter what they are. Before Frank could say anything else, I heard the front door unlock. Deanna and Monica's voices and the sounds of rustling shopping bags filled the houses. All right, I'll be upstairs until dinner. Frank went in and dashed upstairs. I took a long sip from my beer, looking at the city and the now setting sun. I hoped that talking to Frank about my past had been the right decision. Part of me felt as if some sort of burden had been lifted. But I had the same nightmares again that night. Man, honestly, that is one of my favorite interactions in the game. It's just like, in our previous playthrough, we shared a beer with our son. Because again, whatever, break the law a little bit, be a little bit closer to our son. And back then, there was some slight differences between the conversation that playthrough and this one, but it's one of my favorite interactions, because it's just like, it's just so well written. You know, you can like picture it. I can picture it, at least in my head. I absolutely love it. But with that conversation done, we are looking at what? A situation at Narble, it seems. Lots of notifications across the board to look at as well. Some news to turn our attention to as well. But yeah, what's the situation at Narble right now? Oh, our presidential visit to the area. Again, these guys are having issues with healthcare. They're having issues with education. All kinds of problems here. So we'll be tackling that next, it seems. But that won't be happening until next time. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's session, but this is where we're going to be calling it. Again, just as a reminder, if you had a good time today, on your way out, don't hesitate to hit that like button. I do see I missed a couple of notifications over here as this map pans to the side while I move my mouse over. Easy Toran and Federico Kransky, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you enjoyed the show, folks. If you did, again, you know what to do. Let me know. Leave that like, whether you're watching live or you're watching the VOD. It really does help me make decisions for what to do, what not to do on the channel. I read all the comments as well. And again, between chat and the comments, it's why we have this Despot run happening, of course. Because lots of y'all wanted it, and I'm glad we're doing it, because this is a wild ride. I cannot believe we're already, enacting emergency powers. Wild. Absolutely wild. Oh yeah, we've been nice to Surge. We haven't been... Again, being nice to Surge here is purely... a matter of playing it smart here. And it's not necessarily about being nice to Surge, but it's about knowing that being not nice to Surge could cause us trouble. You know what I mean? But folks, hope you had a good time. Again, if you did, you know what to do. A big thanks to our super chatters today. As always, it makes such a big difference in keeping these streams sustainable. And of course, a huge thanks as well to our latest member. Like I always say, helps keep us alive and running smoothly. On that note, no session is truly over until we give a massive thanks to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel month over month, year after year. Again, like I said during the stream as well, I'll have to update this. We have quite a few new members whose names I need to get emblazoned onto the end credits screen over here. Thank you so very much for your support. And of course, thanks to all of y'all for watching as well, whether you're watching live or you're watching the VODs. It's great fun. I love the company as we partake in some of these interesting adventures. As Carol puts it, yes, this one was crazy, and it was nice to be able to share it with everybody. This was wild. This was, oh my god, this escalated extremely quickly. Wild. Hope y'all had a good time. Yeah, sorry, Adam, you came in just at the end. In fact, had that last conversation not been happening, it would have already been over when you came through. Friday streams are 2 hours long. Now Monday, okay, so things are going to be a bit wonky over the next week, folks. There's a lot going on, and I'm trying to keep my schedule in place. Things might be a little bit wonky over the next couple of days, but I'm hoping we will be back, yes, on Monday with Crusader Kings 3. Keep your eyes on the Discord as well as my Twitter. Links to both in the description down below, and also you can see the links in chat to my website where you can find links to all these as well. Thank you very much, OmkarJ, for dropping those links in chat. But yes, I'm hoping to be able to maintain my schedule to some degree of, a schedule this coming week, but it's going to be, I think, the wildest one yet. Lots of news to share, hopefully next week if all goes as it should. But between now and, whether I catch you in the Discord or whether I catch you in a live stream or in the comments somewhere, between now and then, folks, thank you very much for dropping by. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, and cheers.